Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams show. I'm your host Manoj Agarwal, and today we'll be talking with my friend Rachel Beck. So Rachel is an author. She's a multi-talented personality. I'll let her speak about her accomplishments, but just to introduce her, author, songwriter, and dancer,
Mhm.
social media expert, photographer, and she's killing it on LinkedIn. And I think her lead single "Reckless Heart" reached number one on the CBC Music Top. No, no, okay. So I will let her speak about her accomplishments, because it seems like there has been some confusion and we found some another Rachel Beck. So we talked about this
Yes.
before the interview, but anyway, this makes it even more interesting. So apologize for some mix up here, but Rachel, please help us understand your journey. You have a beautiful story. So tell us a little bit about that. Where are you from? How did you get here? And what was that journey like?
Thank you, Manoj, so much for having me on your show. It is wonderful to see you again. I'm looking forward to having you on my show. So, what do I do for a living? I am an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a social media influencer. You're correct that I am a retired photographer. I did that for about 10 years, but I'm not a songwriter. I can't sing worth anything.
Mhm.
And you are also correct because I love to dance. I love to dance. So you're absolutely correct.
That's great. So we got some things right. So that's great. So
Mhm.
tell me, as we were discussing in our previous conversations, you and I, we both come from India. When we have overcome adversity. A lot of different experiences we've had. So can you take us down that memory lane and share a little bit of your story as well?
Yes, thank you so much for asking me. So I was born in India. I was born in Tamil Nadu in southern India. My mom died 2 days after giving birth.
Uh,
I'm looking for my biological father. I was put into the home of the founder of the orphanage. I was adopted when I was 11 months old by a white Jewish family. So I am an Indian Jewish woman. And I grew up in the States. And everything I do, I'll let you in a little secret. You ready? Is to help India. I
mm,
go back and I stay at the orphanage every couple
mhm,
of years. And actually, part of the proceeds of my book, I'm donating back to the orphanage. So that's why I get up every day. I have a
mm.
goal manage in my head of what I would like to donate to the orphanage. And until I hit that goal, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing.
Mm,
I'm also out here trying to leave a positive footprint,
mm.
trying to teach people that social media can be used for good,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it can be used in a positive way. And I'm trying to spread love and kindness across this world.
That's awesome. That's very admirable. So, I mean, that's a huge challenge to overcome. I mean, even living in a country like India, with resources, with some contacts. Yeah, I mean, you could. It's hard to make it. But how did you overcome that challenge? Like, being in an orphanage and being here, like it must have been a very difficult journey.
I was 11 months old, and so I don't really have memories of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
What I'm trying to do is so every time I'm in India, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I have things that were left to me. So I've been unlocking one more piece to the puzzle. And I'm hoping, that I do find my biological father. It's really, really important to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah.
though the parents who adopted me are phenomenal people and they are my parents, none of my life has been easy. I battled a disease for 20 years. I battled endometriosis, so I use my voice for that. I battled infertility. I've lost two children.
Oh my
I
God.
have battled. I use my voice to end racism. I'm very passionate about that because I've experienced a lot of racism. This year, I've had the worst experiences when it comes to racism. So
Mm.
I'm also trying to use my voice to that when people are like, oh no, it stopped in this country. No, it hasn't. The only
Mm.
difference is now is that people are like me are using our voices because I'll pop on and do a video and go, let me tell you what just happened yesterday. So I'm using my voice to end racism, to end anti-Semitism. I'm using my voice to empower people because with all the negativity that they hear every single day, I
Mm.
want to make sure that they at least hear one positive message.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's very important, timely. Now, let me ask you one thing first. Like, how do you find the courage to keep going with all these challenges? Most people will just give up. Most people will say, "Hey, heck with it. I need to, I need to uh, focus on what is important to me." And that's how generally this world works. So, what gives you the energy, the courage to keep going like that?
It's a conscious choice.
Mm-hmm.
I remember many moments where I had to wake up and decide whether or not to get up.
Mm-hmm.
There's choice. I
Mm-hmm.
had a very deeply traumatic experience that caused me to have PTSD.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm passionate about speaking up for mental health. There were
Mhm.
moments, Manoj, where it would have been so easy for me to go, you know what? I'm done. But no, it's okay, get up. And finding that energy over and over and over again. Was it easy? Absolutely not. Am I glad that I did it? I am. It's taught me my strength. It's taught me there's really nothing that can come at me that I haven't dealt with. I've had 3
Mhm.
near death experiences, so I know that this is not I'm very grateful every day for life. I don't take anything for granted. Certain things that people who have near death experiences, we have a very different attitude.
Mhm.
We have more like certain things don't bother us. And since I've had 3 of them,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a get up, go, do what you have to do.
Uh,
Just do it. It's not that difficult. I can make excuses. I don't. I choose not to do that.
yeah. No, that's great. I completely relate to that. Like, I've had a few incidents in my life, near death experiences in of my own. And as you said, like once you get to that stage, then it's like, okay, that's not that bad, you know.
Great.
And and the thing about that is, as you said, like, finding that strength in you, because I do feel a lot of people want to live an impactful life. They want results, they want to be rich, they want to have the um, they want to be known for something, but they don't have they always are scared to take that next step. What is going to happen tomorrow? What if I don't make it? And all these negative things that sort of go they keep on echoing in our minds, right? So uh so tell me, how do you, like, do you talk to uh how coaches? How do you gain that knowledge? How do you gain that strength to tell yourself that whatever your mission is more important than your fear is? How do you get to that stage? How do you
Go from
quieten, yeah, exactly, quieten that negativity?
You know what, Manish? I'm very, very blessed. I have 4 incredible role models in my life.
Mhm.
Okay, my mother, my father, and my aunt and uncle. None of them, their stories are easy. What they have done and accomplished in their life has been phenomenal. Actually, my parents are going to be coming on the show to pass on their lessons
Mhm.
to my network. I watched, I observed. My family has a no quit attitude. They did
Mhm.
everything. That's just the way it is. And there was never, it was like, okay, you can do this. It's possible. And so I could say, as parents who pass down, did people make mistakes? Absolutely. We all make mistakes, whether you're a parent, daughter, whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was always, you can do this. If it's hard, even when it was like going through the disease, they were there. every step of the way. And I had stage 4 endometriosis, which meant I underwent a tremendous amount of surgeries for it, painful.
Mm,
Right? And
mm, mm,
my medical disclosure, I'm just
mm,
sharing my experience. I also, it's who you and I both know, because we run in the same inner circle.
mm.
It's who we surround ourselves with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
absolutely.
is everything. I learned from my mistakes. You know, I'm very clear now who I allow into my space, because I believe that a person's space is very sacred.
Yeah,
And if
yeah, absolutely,
in
absolutely.
if in that space, treat it properly.
Yeah.
Treat it with respect. I tell people all the time, doors open, doors closed. I treat people truly the way I want to be treated.
Mhm. That's amazing. That's good advice. Now let's talk about your professional journey. You know, you've been excelling at so many different things, and most people struggle with one thing. So how do you develop your talent? How do you go into a new field, like from photography to author to social media? I mean, it's not easy to excel at even one single thing. So how do you do that? What is your process?
You want to hear something beautiful?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So the idea of me becoming a photographer came from one of my cousins. I had just gone through something really traumatic, and we were sitting on the beach,
mm-hmm,
and he said to me, "What do you love to do?" And I
mm-hmm,
said, "I love to take photos." Right, like taking photos is a passion of mine. I still do it as a hobby now.
mm-hmm,
And he said to me, "Why aren't you doing this as a career?" And like within 2 days, I opened my company. The
mm-hmm,
idea of being an author came from a really good girlfriend of mine.
mm-hmm,
I had met her in India in the airport. We remained friends. She was back in India when I went back the second time. And she had called me one day. I had gone back to school, finished my university degree in my 40s. And she called me and she said, "Rach, I really feel like you have a story inside of you." I said, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'm not an author. Like I'm a retired photographer. She said, "Do me a favor, sit down at the computer. Just try." And I sat down the first day and I wrote for 5 hours and
mm-hmm,
5 hours. So sometimes it takes somebody seeing something inside of you that you don't see in yourself.
mm-hmm,
So I try to do that with my network. If I see their posts and they're sharing art, they're sharing their poetry, they're sharing their story, I try to light them up, because it just takes that one person, or all the people I have on the show, the experts that are giving their knowledge. One person's words can change your life forever,
mm-hmm.
a positive path. So
Yeah.
those are things that I didn't see inside myself, but it took one of my closest girlfriends, it took my cousin to say, and then it just everything went forward. And I absolutely, you and I have discussed it off camera. I absolutely love what I do. I'm deeply passionate about it.
Yeah, I think you are absolutely right. Like sometimes, what happens is that, well, I mean, again, as I said, our minds are always showing the negative side of things. The imposter syndrome kicks in, and as you said, like if we cannot read whatever is written on our forehead, somebody has to tell us that. And it's lucky to have people around you who are uplifting, and it's great that you're paying it forward now, uplifting other people. And I think that is sort of what we need most in the world, to just uh, have people sort of see their own potential, because most people don't even know what they are capable of.
I'm trying to light all the candles around the world right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
awesome, awesome.
that's what I'm trying to do, Manoj. Like I'll go through my feed, right? Because I post Monday through Friday and I take the weekends off, and I go through my feed, and I'm trying to, we all need that person. We all need that cheerleader in our lives, right? We all, and I want to be everybody's cheerleader on LinkedIn, and that's what I'm trying. I'm like, go get it, do it, because it's just that one thing, that one thing. I have two mentors on LinkedIn who believed in me in the very beginning of my journey. They know who they are. They're very, very close friends of mine, and they saw something in me when I was at like 2,000 followers, right in the very beginning of my journey, and they started supporting me. And so it's about that too. I tell people all the time, don't dismiss people in the beginning of their journey, because guess what? In 1 year, you might need their help.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all started at ground zero. I just talked about it with
Yeah.
one of my friends. Like, we all started at ground zero, and I'm trying to teach people. It doesn't matter if someone has 100 followers, because guess what? We were all there. You started there. I started there in the very beginning of our journey. And the thing is for people not to forget that.
Mhm.
And it's hard. Sometimes you watch people climb, and they become different people. And then there's people who climb, and they're the same kind, humble, beautiful human beings.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's another thing. As you get the recognition, as you climb the success ladder, people change, and I guess that's how just the world is. Like, if we are not self-aware enough, then we go, then we sort of, our personality changes according to the environment. But if we are self-aware, we know who we are, then the environment changes according to our personality, then, right?
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, I'm like, but I pass the ladder to you. Now pass it down. I
Yeah,
want it to be ripple apart, just like my friend did years ago. My good
yeah,
friend did. I'm like, pass the ladder down. Help other people. Don't just take the ladder and climb up. And
yeah,
then remember, it's a process, and keep passing that down. Do the right thing.
yeah.
Like, help the other people who are reaching a hand out, and it's all done. You and I both know it. It's done through kindness. It's done through a level of respect. Those are the two traits that I look for in the most. So if I'm on your post, right, and say somebody writes something really kind to you, being your friend, I'm going to go through that entire post and go follow, 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 follow. I'm looking for those kind, positive comments. And I'm
Yeah.
looking for them to go, Manoj, you're doing a great job. And I'm going to go boom, 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 and hit follow on every single person.
Yeah, no, that's great. So now that we are on that topic, let's talk about it, because you have a massive reach on LinkedIn and other platforms. I mean, I think how much, like, you have like more than 250. How many followers do you have on LinkedIn?
I don't talk about numbers. I'm really humble.
No, no, but I just want to share that with the audience. Huh?
Okay, so I'm very grateful and humbled. I'm over 260,000 followers.
There
I'm
you go. So
grateful for all of them.
that is amazing achievement. Now that the audience knows that you are at that stage. Now, if you can share some of your wisdom on how to grow your audience, how, first of all, let's talk about what impact does this have, because I talk to a lot of executives, I talk to a lot of accomplished people. Most people stay away from social media, and I was one of them. Before 2019, I never even had posted anything on social media. So let's talk about that. Like, what is the impact of being an influencer, or not even being an influencer, but just participating in the conversation on social media? How does that change your life? How does that help you make an impact and help others who need your help?
Then here's the biggest thing. Social media is a huge responsibility. And this is what people are missing, right? And I take that responsibility very serious. I've woken up to messages saying today's the last day of my life. Those,
Mm,
and where I've had to get people help because everybody's struggling with mental health. It's a major responsibility, and that's what people are missing. If you're going to do it, and you do it through a path of service to your network. My network and I aren't like this. No, we're like this. It is that kind of community. And that's another thing that people are missing, that,
mm,
one sits on top of the other. No, a network goes like this all around. There is no, it's a very deep symbiotic relationships that we build. Now is the time to be on social media. People figured that out 2 years ago when the pandemic happened and the world closed, and they couldn't communicate with people. They couldn't go into work, have those. So we started having virtual coffees. We started having virtual meetings. We started, having dinners with people through Zoom. I mean, this is what happened, right? The last 2 years. It's crucial because I know what's going on, what's coming in the future right now in this space, to build your brand now. I tell my network that I'll build the brand, continue to build your network. Let's just say, and let's hope for the best, that the world closes down again. What's going to happen? People are going to be scrambling. I've given talks with groups with where these people were highly, highly educated in their field, right? The best of the best. But when the pandemic started, they had absolutely no clue how to run their business.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know how to do it, right? So my friend had put together a bunch of us, and we all spoke at a webinar giving tips on how. They didn't know how to take that outside world, bring it on the inside. But this is for you and me. This is our space.
Mm-hmm.
We know how to do this in the virtual world. We know how to build a brand. We know how to boost a business up. So are you doing it now? I say that to small businesses. They'll ask me and say, how do I take your small business, get it on social media right now? And because I'm a huge advocate for supporting small businesses, because I have been one for 15 years.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's well said. Like, building that community, people don't realize how important this is, especially now, as you pointed out, after the pandemic, like everything is going virtual. Before that, from, in the business world, most of the deals used to happen on the golf courses and in dinner tables, conferences. But now those things don't exist anymore. I mean, it's slowly coming back, but with all these variants going on, so virtual presence is the key. I always tell my mentees, my clients, the same exact thing. And it is not easy to put yourself out there, right? Like it takes a little bit of practice, but I think with the right steps and right strategy, anybody can do it. So let's talk about that. Then let's talk about a few strategic things that you can share with the audience, that hey, if somebody wants to either start their personal branding journey, or they want to enhance it, they are already on the journey, what are some of the pieces of advice you will give them?
You want to know the most important one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't have to be perfect.
Uh-huh.
And that is a mistake that people
Yeah.
Sometimes there'll be glitches in a video or this or that. I still put it in. You know why? Because I want people to see you don't have to be perfect.
Exactly.
And that's lots of times that is what's stopping people, Manoush.
Yeah.
Everything has to be perfect. This, that. No, it doesn't. What we want is to see you. What we want is to hear your story.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care if you're perfect, because you know what? I'm not. I tell people else I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Make flaws, and I'm human.
Exactly.
So that's something that I feel is one of the biggest things that stops people. The other thing, and people have told me why they don't want to do it, it's fear of criticism, judgment. I just talked about it in my video today that I posted, and it's crucial that you protect yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that you're able to not listen to the naysayers, not listen to the trolls, and then find your tribe. Find that tribe in space. Every business will benefit so much from being on social media in a huge way. I can't walk into certain companies right now and sit down with them and go, okay, tell me about your company. No, how do I do it? I jump on a meeting, go, tell me about your company. So it's developing all that. The question you have to ask yourself is, are you giving your company the best chance for success? And they need to ask themselves that. Are they doing everything in their power for their company to succeed?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's very funny and very, very spot on. They said, no need to be perfect. A good example is when I introduced you, I had the.
Yes. Listen, I was late to like a meeting last week with one of my friends,
Yeah.
and life happens. And I think
Exactly.
people need to stop putting so much pressure on other people. I
Mhm.
had a psychologist on the show, and he said mental health issues are up 800% in this country.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I've been pleading every day for people not to push people, to be patient, to just be a little softer with people right now, because people are holding on by a thread. That's the reality.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
are holding on by a thread. They were pushed the year before. Now they're pushed this year, and they're stressed. I mean, and that's what we need. We need these empathetic souls
Mhm.
that are going to get out there and teach more empathy. You function like that.
Yeah,
I know you function like that. I wouldn't even do business with people who weren't empathetic or kind. I just wouldn't do it.
yeah,
Those are the people that I collaborate with, the people who are sending those kind of messages out into the world.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, nobody's perfect, as you said. Like, everybody makes mistakes. Nobody comes to this world knowing everything. We all look at each other and say, oh, this looks good, let me try it. And then, the first time you're not going to succeed, the second time you're not going to succeed, but the third time you'll get somewhere. So that is great. Now, this is great advice. Also, one of the things that you mentioned, this is not only to build a tribe, but it has monetary benefits as well. This is what people don't realize, and I would love for you to speak about that a little bit. That this uh, uh, actually affects the bottom line and the top line, and the growth of the business in monetary terms, because it also builds your credibility. Personal branding, social media is not just to showcase yourself, become a rock star, but it actually leads to business opportunities. So can you speak about that a little bit?
The most power, and I tell people this, and I know what's going on with LinkedIn in the next 2 years. The most powerful people are on LinkedIn. It is changing drastically. This is the time right now to be here. This is the time to build that network. How much better could it be? You and I can't be standing in this. Hopefully, one day we can. Where we're standing in this huge conference, in Canada, and we're mingling and we're networking and we're doing it. But right now, you have how many people on LinkedIn? Think about that. So
800 million in total.
right. So out every day, we're out there, we're networking. You're never going to have that kind of chance. We can't sit in a room and like do that. And I teach people also the importance of creating content when they're ready. For all the millions and millions of people who are on LinkedIn, a very small percentage are content creators
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you and me, a
yeah,
very, very small percentage. So you can do it, and you can reach those people that you have been wanting to reach. If you do the work, you take the time, you build the network, you're creating content, and you're getting out there and engaging with other people. That's what people are missing. I see
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Engagement is everything.
yeah,
Is everything. And that is what really builds those relationships. So if someone tags me, right? And you can imagine how many tags I get a day, right? So if someone tags me, I jump over and I'm supporting. I read every post. I don't just jump over there and hit a like. I have to see what message it is that they're putting out into the world, because, like you said, it's our brand. It's everything. There's certain things that I support. There's certain things I won't support. It's endless possibilities right now on this platform. It is endless possibilities.
Mhm. See, that's those are some powerful words. So I hope people listen to Rachel, and really take action, and be consistent, because this is another thing what I have seen. What people do is they try it for 1 week and they, oh, it doesn't work, nothing's going on, and then they give up. But I mean, anything that is great in life takes time. So staying consistent, and just being going with the flow is the right thing to do. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now let's talk about a little bit lightweight stuff. Like, we were talking about our common roots in India. We are talking about food. We are talking about some stereotypes. And we were talking about a little bit of rivalry between North India and South India. People don't realize that India is a huge country, just like US. So like East Coast, West Coast, Midwest is totally different. It's the same thing in India happens. So why don't you share a little bit about that, and we can maybe have a banter about that.
Okay, so all right, so I don't know about you. So for me, when I think of India, I think about the food, I think about the dancing, I think about the bright colors. Indians are very, very family oriented, very family oriented. So like for me, when I go back to India, it's it's reconnecting with all my ancestral roots. I love the energy of in India. Definitely has its own energy compared to where you and I are now. And the relationship is everything. And I've learned so many lessons from India. I've learned how to slow down. I this weird experience that would never happen. I was on a bus with my orphanage going to another orphanage, and we were going to help them. And the bus pulled over off the highway to have tea. And I looked at my friend, I was like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Rach, it's tea time. Don't you do that in America?" I'm like, "Not at all." But it was so special. They had the big teapot. They stopped.
Yeah.
Said, "This is our time to socialize, to be together." And they do where I was. We did tea time twice a day. Right? It was like 10 and then like 4 o'clock or something. The history, the culture. I go through. It's very close to where Vellore is.
Of course, of course. Yeah.
So it's very close to Vellore. The orphanage is not far from there. And when I'm there and I'm having dinner with my friends and listening to the sounds and getting, the experience of what is driving in India. I don't drive there. There's no point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love the energy of it. I
Yeah.
love the energy of it. And I've had the happiest person I ever met in my life was in India.
Yeah.
The happiest person. And I was visiting a leper colony. I was there for a reason. She was blind, deaf, and had leprosy. I was taking her photograph. I asked the director who's touring me, I said, "How is this woman happy? She's blind, deaf, and has leprosy." She said, "Rachel, she was abandoned by her family. We took her in, and she's grateful to have a home." Right there. And this is the most rural, remote area. The happiest person in my life. And I had other lessons like that.
That's very deep. That's very deep. I mean, that's the thing that I also miss about India, because there are so many different shades of life you can see in one not even large country, like even in one locality. Like there'll be like a multi-billionaire, like
Yes.
yeah, and right in front of his house there'll be like somebody, just the person that you described, and that's what sort of teaches us. In the West, I see that lack of contrast quite a bit.
Mm.
Even though we have different different levels of society here, but that level of contrast and the emotional sort of bonds that people create, that I feel is quite a bit different in the West than in Asian countries, specifically in India. What do you think about that?
I think that there's a contrast all over. There's contrast in different, just in different areas of India that I've been in.
Mm-hmm.
What I feel that runs through India is the heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very, very soulful
Mm.
country. I don't know if you experience that. That's what I experience when I'm
Yeah,
there. It is a
absolutely.
soulful country. I am always moved by the relationships that there's people who I met who welcomed me into their home, met me the day before. And
Mm.
obviously I graciously accepted, went. They met me through the orphanage or one of my
Yeah.
friends at the orphanage. The hospitality of come on in, sit down, have some chai tea with us. Let's have a conversation. The conversation is very important in India, as you know. Where what you and I are doing right now. people do that in the afternoon. Sit down,
Yeah.
have a cup of tea, check in with people, genuinely, not just say, how are you? But no, sit down, have a cup of tea with me, and truly tell me how you're doing today.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Yeah, I mean those are some of the key things I miss. I miss the food, the culture, and as you said, the relationships. But all I know, one thing is that North Indians can drink the South Indians. We can upbring them any day. So I don't know how you are doing in that area now. Now that you are in America.
Yeah, I've been here for so long, right? I've been here since I'm 11. I came here I was 11 months old.
Mm.
So what I do love seeing is I love seeing the smiles. So I do a lot of photography when I'm there, a
Cool.
tremendous amount.
Well, how come you don't share any photographs that you on LinkedIn?
I have. I
Okay.
actually I'll have to text you some.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
so when I go back, when it's like safe, because as soon as I feel like it's good,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm going back to India, and you're gonna see videos, the whole thing. Um, I love the music. I know it's so hard to explain. I mean, you probably will understand this statement.
Mhm.
There's a feeling, and you know what that flight's like. It's 24 hours long,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a long flight. But
Mhm.
there's a feeling that when I get out of the airport and the doors open, and it's usually like 3 or 4 in the morning, right? And like the doors open to the airport, and I
Yeah.
hear everything, right? I hear everything, I smell everything, and it's like my soul touched home.
Mm. Yeah,
As
yeah.
much as I am very proud to be an Indian American woman, right? Because I love America so much. Veterans in my family, they have fought, done their
Mhm.
part to make this
Mhm.
country amazing. There's a soulful experience. There's
Absolutely.
just there's just this soulful experience that I have. And I hold on to I usually go for about 3 weeks. I sleep at the orphanage the whole time. And it's like, they talk about like the lotus.
Mm.
Right? So when I feel like when I'm in India, like that flower keeps opening and opening.
Mm. That's
That's what it,
beautiful.
that's what I feel. Every experience I have, every conversation, everything.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, this has been a very, very interesting conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You.
One day before Christmas.
Yeah,
so
there's anything for you. I'm
no,
happy.
thank you so much. Yeah. So now before I let you go, can you tell us how people can reach out to you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, they can just find me on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Yeah, they can just find me there. Where you and I found each other.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Here's a perfect example, right? This is how you and I became friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
Exactly.
both we're both content creators. We run in the same circle. It's exactly how it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. No. Thank you so much. When we publish this podcast, we'll add the link to your profile in the show notes as well.
Okay, well, thank you, Manoj, and Merry Christmas to you and your family and all your
Yeah.
friends who are celebrating
Same to
tonight.
you, and Merry Christmas to everyone who's watching, who will watch
Merry
later. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank
Christmas.
you. Thank you.